Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I have a treat for you. In this box is the all-new Mini Fabrikator 3D printer by Tiny Boy, or the Turnigy Mini Fabrikator 3D printer. I read about this Friday last week, today's Monday, and I ordered it from hobbyking.com and it was pretty cheap. It goes for only $169, but you have to add to that about $60 for express sending to Europe and another 60 euros for customs. So let's look and see what's in the box. So first of all, this thing arrived within exactly one working day. It was sent on Friday and it arrived in Germany on Monday, and it was sent off from Hong Kong. That is pretty amazing, and just for that I'm gonna give UPS 2 thumbs up. As you can see, there's quite a bit of cushioning in here. Got some paperwork, some bubble foil, more bubble foil, bubble protectors. This is packed great. The whole thing weighs about 5 kilograms, and it looks like it's all assembled and ready to go. Now this is a very small 3D printer. It has a build platform that is only 80 by 80 millimeters, 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters, with a build height of another 8 centimeters. But for doing small stuff, and that's what you mostly do, or what I mostly do, it seems okay, and at a price of $170, seems pretty cheap. And it's packed really well. And inside the box is another box. Surprise! And this is the Fabrikator 3D Mini printer from Turnigy, color transparent. So the packaging is another plus. Can't do any better than that. There's a Hobby King sticker on here, so they probably had a look in here, maybe added something. Paperwork says that it actually comes with a EU power supply, and here we have a manual of some kind. We've got some blue sticky tape. We have, wow, that must be almost 1 meter of filament. Yeah. A USB cable, 90 degrees. And here we go. I can't even get it out. What's that? That seems to be a power supply of some sort. Let's have a look. It's a power supply. Standard input. Appears to have all sorts of certifications. 100 to 240 volts, 12 volts, 10 amps. Made in China. Sounds and feels solid. Here we go. I can't even get this out. More packaging. More pack. You can't have enough packaging. And oh, that's sweet. That's the whole printer in there. There's nothing more to this. That's it. Here we go. Remove more packing. More foam around here. The packing on this thing is excellent. Absolutely excellent. Right in here, power cord, EU plug type. Yeah, very good. Let's unpack this some more. Let's be really careful. Okay. Right. This is sweet. Absolutely sweet. So we have a Bowden type extruder with an external extruder driver. Appears to be a Prusa type with separate X and Y axes. Let's take this close up. The X and Y axis appear to be split. This looks funny. So here we got the extruder. Let's look at this. You can actually see that the X or Y axis belt is in a type of H configuration, so the belt is fixed to the side and the motor is moving the mass of belt in the middle, which actually gives you more movement per less movement per steps. Let's have a look at the lower side. Oh yeah, we've got a controller board which appears to be pretty special. The ad said that it was supposed to be a ramps type board with 4966 driver chips, but it doesn't look like that to me. But no matter, there appears to be an 80 mega 256 on there. There's a USB port, there's power. Steppers are really cute. They're so small. It's NEMA 12, I guess. And the stepper for the extruder is a NEMA 17. Very neat. It's all very tidy and light. Let's see if we can get the extruder a bit closer. This here is the extruder, and looking on it, it appears to be very similar to the E3D version 6 Lite extruder. Also here is the Z-axis lead screw, which is this is mini. Looks like the wire in the back of here is actually touching against it. Maybe I'll have to fix that. There's the work table, which is fixed down on 2 threaded rods. Seem to me like 4mm. Here's an end switch. Here we go. The fan looks pretty solid quality. It's not one of those really cheap ones. Looking at the X-axis or the Y-axis, there's another end switch, which is the normal switch type. They're okay. There are some brass bushings on here, which means that you'll have to keep the rods for the axis clean and well lubricated, but this usually works very well. You've got the Bowden extruder, you've got the cabling for the heating and the temperature sensor and the fan. There's no extra fan for the extrusion, but since we're using blue tape, I guess we can do without. This here's the extruder. Looks really solid. I would say this too looks like they copied a bit from the E3D design, but hey, if it works. Let's see if we can put this thing to work. Be back in a second. So here we are once again. I went ahead and I plugged the USB into my notebook, and I started Repetier host. I didn't do anything else but put the filament Bowden tube into the extruder driver, and I threaded the filament that was supplied with it into that, and there's nothing really special to say about that. I saw that it didn't come with any software, so you will have to download Repetier host and everything else you need from the internet. So the second that I plugged in the USB cable, the lights came on the bottom of the printer, which supposedly means that the Arduino board is powered via USB, and all the motor controllers simply switch on or switch off the power that is coming from the power supply, which I'm going to plug in now. Oddly enough, I hit a snag. For some reason, Windows 7 doesn't work with the I/O chip on the printer board, and I needed to go ahead and download the FTDI chip drivers by hand. If you run into a similar problem, you might want to keep that in mind. So it did take me a few minutes longer than I had expected to install the driver, but that went, well, it was probably because it's Monday. The firmware is pretty standard, and I like that a lot because there's no need to take something from the internet, give it another name, and call it your own. This is a Marlin V1 printer. It identifies the printer as a Mendel type. The whole thing leaves a pretty good impression. For something for $196, it's really pretty impressive. And it looks pretty neat too. The plastic parts are all of very good quality. Everything is screwed down nicely. The bushings here are held down with zip ties. A lot of people will say, well, that's cheap, but it's pretty good if you want to repair it or if you need to take it apart. You just put some new zip ties on it and it's as good as new. I'm going to prepare something to print now. I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to feed some filament in it, but I'm not going to record that. I'll put up a small test print and be back in a minute. So this is the first printing test. It actually took me a while to get Slicer configured because it seems that the printer firmware has a heated bed configured. So if the G-code tells it to preheat the heated bed, the printer firmware will wait indefinitely. But once you know that, it's okay. You just have to make sure that you don't configure any bed heating temperatures for your filament, which in my case is a bit of a problem because I only have one PC where I hook all my 3D printers up, and all my filaments have different settings for extrusion and bed heating. But I guess I'll have to figure that one out somehow, or maybe recompile the firmware so it doesn't have a heated bed and it just ignores the settings for that. But for a first try, this is okay. For the price, it's okay too. And the printing quality doesn't look that bad, so I'm really happy with this. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. I just noticed something, and I want to put it in this video. It's a bit hard to see, but the drive gear actually has a little bit too much slack on the top here, which actually means that going forward and backward you have a little bit of backlash, and there doesn't seem to be any designed method for tightening the drive belts. They're just wound around their end positions and tightened down with cable ties. So it looks like to fix this problem you have to take at least half of the printer apart and find a way to put more tension on this, because the way it is now you definitely have a bit of backlash in the drive belt, and I for one don't want that. I want to have that fixed. It's printing very nicely. Possibly one can reduce the filament flow a little bit. Seems to be putting out quite a lot of that. And the extruder here, apparently it has a problem when it comes to putting a lot of pressure on the filament. I've heard the stepper skip over some steps as it was doing a solid surface. But those are just nitpicks. It's working fine so far. It's pretty silent. There's a fair bit of vibration from the fan on the printer, but all in all, as a printer for somebody who's starting out, this is just fine. And you can just modify the printer itself, or grow with it, or just find out that you want more and get a better printer. But this is very nice. I have to say, I'm very impressed by this little thing, and I definitely recommend it. For the price, I think you can't go any better. Once they start selling them through their UK and US warehouses, the shipping cost is going to go down, which will be good for everybody. So, again, thanks for watching. Bye.